mouth of the Pic River has been the center of native trade and settlement for thousands of years. Today, we are pleased to award the Ojibwe of Pic River First Nation the 2011 Community Housing Innovation Award. The community took a long-range approach when addressing their housing needs. The Pic River First Nation decided to create a 10-year housing plan and strategy to best address the needs of the community's long-term goals.
When I first became employed here, we were running into a serious housing crisis, such as overcrowding and not enough houses within the community. And I felt I had plans in mind that I think would take away a lot of the housing situations here. Then it was up to me to come up with a plan of how do you do that.
Well, the First Nations Northern Housing Conference several years ago decided to implement an award program, so to speak, because we wanted to recognize communities who are progressing, so who are doing something innovative, or who are doing really, really well in their housing and their housing programs.
In the case of the Ojibways of Pic River, Garland Moses in particular, he's been instrumental in putting together a long-term plan. The other thing that they do in Pic River is they review these plans on a regular basis. So they will update them, make sure that there are any changes that are required due to circumstances, financial or otherwise. They just maintain that focus and keep going straight ahead.
This strong focus on community is to be commended. The Pic River Housing Department was committed to successfully completing their 10-year plan, despite the obstacles they may encounter.
We have a new flock of people out there, and it opens up clearly an influx of new things or old things coming in, and there's some good and there's some bad in it, but nonetheless that gave us challenges to kind of look at tidying up some of disorders that are there, and basically out there being younger families, it means that we must now quit just talking about disorders out there. We got to make action. So that is inspiring members and leadership to say, hey, let's start looking at these challenges properly.
We were chosen by Pic River First Nation to help or assist in the implementation of their 10-year housing plan. One of the key components of that was capacity building here within the community. So we hired 15 to 18 local guys. We've trained them as best we can in carpentry techniques and materials. And we've also been able to train one of the workers to be a project manager. I think that community starts with adequate housing. I mean, there has to be people here, there has to be adequate housing. You have to be able to afford to live in that housing. So we've focused a lot in the last 5 years on energy efficiency. And again, community starts with housing. There's no people, there's no housing, there's no people, there's no community. So really adequate housing, energy efficient housing that people can afford to live in is, again, fundamental to community. So.
The 10-year plan included items such as the construction of 40 new residential housing units, the improvement of 60 existing housing units, the implementation of an apprenticeship program to train community members in housing trades, and the development of a long-term housing maintenance and administration policy.
I think the biggest change we've seen has been in the area of looking at this idea of a dependency mentality. And we've, tried to address this in all areas again. And with housing, that people have taken responsibility and ownership for, for their own living and their own standards of living. And so with that alone, that's, has contributed to some of the changes.
Clearly now we did virtue of 39 newer homes, and we built another virtue of 60 retrofits. And clearly the homes are now more improved. They have a lot of different things. The houses are inspected, and yeah, there are still some deficiencies there, but clearly we have better quality of homes. People are happier, and now people are willing now to come across with paying rent for what they've gotten out there. And that is clearly a challenge. And there are some arrears that we got to deal with, but you pay for what you get now.
The big picture is allowing a member to actually own their own house.
I think what's next for Pick River is just our continued movement towards self-government, our continued movement towards empowering our community and having our people be aware of and caring and making meaningful contributions to their own lives and to the lives of the generations to come, and looking at the bigger picture.
If you plan, then you should in fact plan to work around various obstacles. A major obstacle in First Nations is funding. And if you plan far enough advance and you show that you can accomplish things like a 10-year plan, then funding agencies, private, public funding agencies, are more likely to work along with you, work closely with you, because you are a success story. One of the other big things is that it shows other First Nations and other communities in the area just what they can do, what one can do if you put your mind to it, put a plan forth and do your best to follow that plan. You will accomplish some really good things like Pick River has.
They utilize the service that OFNT provides to them, and we're proud to be a part of that, and we wish them all the success in their next planning stage.
The Ojibwe of Pick River First Nation have demonstrated the importance of creating a plan, and more importantly, sticking to that plan. Please join us in congratulating the Pick River community.